This room always reminds me of my dog. He spent a lot of time in here, and I could scratch his ears pretty much forever. His name was Dexter, and he was kind of my best friend. They say dogs are a man's best friend, but in truth, they'll love you no matter how you identify. This room reminds me of when my dog died. That was almost immediately before the pandemic too, so it was easy to feel like I was trapped here with a ghost. I find it very hard to separate memories from where they happened, when they happened, who they happened to. It's not always bad memories. It's not always great memories. This place reminds me of someone that I used to know. Someone I had a lot of good times with, but we weren't always the best around each other. I will never know for sure how she felt about me or how I made her feel towards the end. There was a lot of fighting near the end. Somewhere near the beginning, I told her that I don't really think that I'm who I look like. Like, I told her that I don't like seeing myself as masculine, and she told me that that was okay. She respected who I was, and she loved me for who I was. Somewhere near the middle, we talked about how I might be asexual. She said that was okay, because she had a friend who was the same way. Somewhere near the end, she said some other things. They reminded me of who I'm supposed to be, because of how I was born, because of what I look like, because of the skin that I live in. It made me feel worthless, and it made me feel disgusted to be in this body. I will never forget our last night together, and for a few reasons. One was the pleasant walk we took to McDonald's and back. One was the multiple hours of fighting that took place afterwards, and another was the announcement of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the video game for the PlayStation 4. I found it annoying because they had been developing Final Fantasy XV for around 9 years at that point, yet here they were announcing a bunch more games, including a remake of an old one. I probably lived in this room for the longest amount of time. I lived in here for the announcement of Final Fantasy XV, but back then it went by another name. I remember at the time there was a joke about Final Fantasy games. How the women looked like women, but the men looked androgynous. It was meant to be humorous and mocking, but I actually felt like it was ideal. Living in this room, I knew that looking masculine meant that you were a boy or a man, and your friends would be men, and you had to watch porn, and masturbate, and talk about women, and play Call of Duty. I mean, I actually thought Call of Duty was alright. Sometimes it was even really great. But when I played the original Final Fantasy on the Game Boy Advance, that little pixelized sprite didn't really look like anyone. Didn't look like a man or a woman. Nothing was expected of them other than saving the world from chaos. High school came around, and time with friends was pretty minimal in the beginning. People saw me and thought they knew exactly who I was. To most other men, my nickname was Faggot. In class, in hallways, and in the cafeteria, guys would shout faggot to get my attention, and it worked, because for a couple of years, it was basically my name. Women, on the other hand, alternated between calling me creepy or stalker. I never knew where these labels came from, but I clearly made people uncomfortable, so I just tried to leave them alone. Making friends was hard. I did make some eventually, and I was eventually able to regroup with some childhood buddies. But by then, I had already spent so much time avoiding people as creepy faggot stalker that it was hard to know who I was with those people. But when I was back in this room, I was weird old me. I had my posters, and I had lots of Final Fantasy to catch up on with my PlayStation. But now it's after college. I've escaped from an unhealthy relationship, and I no longer have a stable bedroom to call my own. So I'm back here for a while. And this room feels so empty. There's nothing but a bed and a TV, but I look at these blank walls, and I don't know who I am. Most of my friends moved out of town, and I don't feel like I can talk to anyone. Donald Trump got elected on my fucking birthday, so I don't even get to celebrate that. I hate the bed I'm sleeping in. I hate this fucking face. It just repels everyone I walk past. I hate this stupid body, which dictates who I'm supposed to be. It feels like the only thing stopping me from slitting my wrists is, after 10 agonizing years, Final Fantasy XV is actually about to come out. I need to live, and I promised myself back in high school I was going to play every Final Fantasy. It's 2020 and I miss my dog. I've been dating someone new for a while, but I can't see her because of the pandemic. I'm finally playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's funny to me that this game was announced on the last night of my previous relationship, but came out near the beginning of another. In a weird way, it's just the kind of thing I needed. A game about a man who hates who he was in the past and strives to reinvent his identity. A man who has PTSD panic attacks, yet wants to be stronger. A man who looks damn fine in a dress and knows it. I tell my girlfriend about this man, and she thinks it's a beautiful game. It's 2021. I tell my girlfriend about who I am, and she accepts me in a way that no one else has before. It's 2022, and for some reason, my girlfriend still likes me. I've told my family, and they still like me too. I've told just about everyone at this point, and well, they all seem cool with it. In a way, not too much has changed. I'm still a weirdo who likes Final Fantasy way too much. I still have trouble talking to people, and I have memories I can't properly ignore. But I'm not creepy faggot stalker anymore, and I suppose that's a start. When I play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I still relate to the protagonist and how he has these flashbacks. I flash back to the night the game was announced, and the fighting and the lack of sleep. I flash back to a time when Dexter would have sat on my bed as I played, but I also flash back to when my friend lent me his old PlayStation copy of the original Final Fantasy VII, or when my uncle lent me his Game Boy cartridge of Final Fantasy I, or just living to play Final Fantasy XV after 10 years of waiting. I have changed since all of those times, but I survived to become who I am. I hope to keep surviving, for my family and for my girlfriend, and funny enough, so that maybe I can play the next Final Fantasy, as shallow as that is.